When meeting the queen, women traditionally do what action?
Oh,
I know this one.
that thing?
No, what is it called? Not that thing.
A cursey. That was close. I got it right though.
You said a cursey.
Well, you guys have been married forever, 23 years. And I was just thinking how cool it would be to be Brooklyn, to look at your son who's starting his married life, can look and see, that's how you do it. What lessons do you think you're teaching him? I'm not necessarily saying by saying, here, honey, A, B, C, but just by watching what a relationship looks like.
I think it's about being a close family and having the lines of communication always open and just being there. I think that you can never really offer advice. The kids have to figure it out themselves, but you have to be there, and we're very close. And all I want is my children to be happy and what more can you ask for, really?
You can't ask for anything more.
So your parents is David and Victoria Beckham. That is amazing. We can't imagine that, right? Did you travel a lot of places? What was that like?
Yeah, I was always very lucky enough to be able to travel to these, amazing places. I love traveling, so I was lucky enough to be able to do that.
Now, when did you realize your parents were famous?
Probably when I went to the football games in Manchester at Old Trafford, when everyone was like singing my dad's name.
That's you. Do you remember that moment?
Not that exact moment, but I do remember. I do remember sometimes going on the pitch.
I love my Takis. I tried them for the first time a few years ago in New York when I was at school there. Ever since then, absolutely been obsessed with them.
Talkies.
Yeah, but I'm from England, you say Takis. You guys say caramel, and I say caramel.
Caramel.
Okay, this argument can go on forever.
Who cried more at your wedding, you or Nicola?
Me. I'm a crier. I'm a big crier. I'm a Pisces, so I heard Pisces are like sensitive and they cry a lot, and that is literally me. You're not a real man unless you cry.
Did your mom or dad cry more?
I think my dad. My mum always keeps a straight face, but my dad cried quite a lot. These are our favorite looks of each other's. This is my favorite outfit that she wears because I love the little high-waisted jeans and I love like a nice tight shirt. I love the high boots. I think they're very sexy. Little Matrix jacket, I love it.
I love this outfit on him. I love a guy in a backwards hat. Obviously, my husband the most. This hat is my little brother's brand. So Brooklyn wears a lot and I think it's really cute. This is just a vintage Champion sweatshirt, but I like when it's kind of unzipped and you see his tattoos because he's not wearing a shirt under it. And then he always looks great in jeans and it's his favorite. And these are great Doc Martens shoes that he loves and apparently has had for 23 years. I love this look on him. I feel like it's effortless and it really feels like Brooklyn. And Brooklyn is really he doesn't try, he's just himself. And that's why I love him.
Okay, before anyone says anything, yes, this story escalated again. And no, it's not because Brooklyn Beckham dropped a blurry clip on Instagram or leaked something to TMZ. It's more unsettling than that, because for the first time, people aren't just arguing about what Brooklyn Beckham said, they're asking whether proof already exists. Specifically, whether footage from his wedding exists that could back up his most explosive claim. And that single question might permanently change how this entire family feud is understood. For years, the Victoria Beckham family tension lived in that familiar celebrity gray zone. Enough weirdness to make people uncomfortable, but never enough proof to say anything out loud. There were awkward absences, strange unfollows, missed birthdays, big milestones celebrated separately, public appearances that looked perfect, but felt stiff. It was the kind of situation where everyone sensed something was off, but nobody could quite explain why. Just smoke. No fire. Until Brooklyn Beckham finally spoke. And when he didn't do it the safe way. No carefully worded interview. No statement filtered through a publicist. No, we ask for privacy during this time. He posted a long, raw message in his own words. And he didn't accuse his parents of one misunderstanding. He accused them of a pattern: control, image management, press manipulation, family loyalty being treated like brand maintenance, But buried inside that statement was one moment that immediately stopped people cold. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was specific. The wedding. Brooklyn Beckham claimed that during what was supposed to be his romantic first dance with his wife, Nicola Peltz Beckham, his mother stepped in and danced on him in a way he described as inappropriate, humiliating, and deeply uncomfortable, right in front of hundreds of guests. At first, a lot of people brushed it off. They said it sounded exaggerated, too emotional, almost bizarre. And to be fair, skepticism makes sense. This is one of the most famous families on the planet. Their public image has been polished for decades. But then something happened that shifted the entire conversation. Someone who was actually there spoke up. Not a tabloid source, not an anonymous insider, not a friend of a friend. A wedding guest. And not just any guest. Someone connected to the music, the timeline, the room itself. A DJ associated with the wedding posted content online that casually referenced Victoria Beckham dancing during Brooklyn Beckham's first dance. It wasn't framed as a scandal, it wasn't dramatic, but the implication was clear enough that people immediately noticed. Screenshots started circulating, comment sections exploded. Then the DJ's partner publicly commented that he was there, that he witnessed it, and that Brooklyn Beckham was telling the truth. That comment was later deleted. But by then, it didn't matter. Because the moment someone says, "I was there," this stops being just a messy family disagreement. It becomes an evidence problem. And that's where the footage speculation enters the picture. Not because anyone has seen a video, but because now it's logical to ask whether one exists. This wasn't a backyard wedding with disposable cameras. This was a global celebrity event. There were professional videographers, photographers, private reels, behind-the-scenes clips, security cameras, and hundreds of guests holding phones. So once a guest backs up Brooklyn Beckham's account, the next question becomes unavoidable. If someone was there, was something recorded? If something was recorded, who has it? And if someone has it, why hasn't it surfaced? That question alone is what makes this moment different from everything that came before. Because now, silence feels heavier. And things get even messier when you compare Brooklyn's account to the official wedding coverage from 2022. Major publications describe the first dance as romantic, uninterrupted, exactly as planned. They claimed the mother-son dance happened later in the evening and was presented as a sweet family moment, two completely different versions of the same night. But here's what matters. Celebrity wedding coverage is not journalism. It's curated, approved, sanitized. It exists to protect relationships, reputations, and long-term brand value. Anything awkward, emotionally uncomfortable, or messy does not make it into the glossy write-ups. So when Brooklyn Beckham says something happened that wasn't reflected in the coverage, that doesn't automatically mean he's lying. It means there may be a gap between what was experienced and what was presented. And when someone who attended the wedding supports his version, even partially, that gap suddenly feels very real. Now let's address the title head-on because this matters. Did Brooklyn Beckham literally leak wedding footage? No. There is no confirmed video released by him. But did his statement create a situation where footage suddenly becomes relevant, dangerous, and potentially explosive? Absolutely. Before Brooklyn Beckham spoke, nobody cared whether footage existed. Now, everyone does. And in situations like this, sometimes the most powerful move isn't releasing a video. It's letting people wonder whether one exists at all, because uncertainty puts pressure on everyone else. And the wedding dance wasn't even the biggest accusation he made. Brooklyn described being pressured to sign away rights to his own name before the wedding, decisions that could affect not just him, but his wife and future children. He claimed family members told him Nicola wasn't real family. He said his siblings were encouraged to distance themselves from him online before cutting contact altogether. He described being rejected when he tried to see his father privately, unless it was at a large public event surrounded by cameras. And then there was the line that hits harder the longer you sit with it. Brooklyn Beckham said that for the first time in his life, after stepping away from his family, his anxiety disappeared. That sentence reframes everything. This doesn't sound like someone trying to win a public argument. It sounds like someone explaining why reconciliation no longer feels safe. Critics responded the way they always do. They said he's being influenced, that the language doesn't sound like him, that Nicola must be controlling him, that he's been pulled away from his family. Brooklyn addressed that directly. He said the narrative that his wife controls him is backwards, that he was controlled long before she entered his life. Whether you believe that or not, one thing is impossible to ignore. His framing is consistent: image, control, press, obligation, anxiety, relief. Those themes repeat again and again. And meanwhile, his parents have said nothing. No denial, no clarification, no emotional response, just silence. And in celebrity culture, silence is never neutral. Silence is strategic. It's legal, it's cautious, especially when specific allegations are involved. Because the moment you start responding to details, you invite scrutiny, you invite receipts, you invite follow-up questions. And if footage exists, even footage that simply shows a moment unfolding differently than the official narrative, that's not something you want dragged into public conversation. Which brings us back to the wedding dance. Not because it's the most important allegation, but because it's the most visual. It's the one thing that could theoretically be proven or disproven. It's the one thing that could exist on camera. And that's why it's become symbolic of everything else. The tragedy here isn't who danced with who. It's that a moment meant to be sacred has turned into a piece of evidence. A memory that should have been joyful is now being analyzed for truth value. And once family memories become public exhibits, there's no easy way back. The real question now isn't whether footage will leak, it's whether this family is already past the point of repair. Because time doesn't pause for family feuds. Parents age, siblings drift, moments pass, and absence eventually stops being a statement and becomes a permanent reality. What makes this situation genuinely unsettling isn't the allegation itself. Celebrity weddings are messy, emotions run high, alcohol flows, boundaries blur. That part isn't shocking. What is shocking is the timing. Brooklyn didn't speak in 2022. He didn't speak in 2023. He didn't speak in 2024 when the rumors were loudest. He waited until 2026. That alone tells you this wasn't impulsive. This wasn't a fight. This wasn't a reaction to one headline or one bad week. This was a decision that took years to reach. And when someone waits that long before going public, it usually means one of two things. Either they exhausted every private option, or something shifted behind the scenes that made silence impossible. And that's where the footage speculation becomes more than gossip. It becomes context. Because in celebrity families, especially ones that function as global brands, power doesn't come from who's right. It comes from who controls the narrative. For most of Brooklyn's life, that narrative never belonged to him. It belonged to David Beckham, whose image is built on discipline, respectability, and national pride. It belonged to Victoria Beckham, whose career depends on precision, control, and immaculate presentation. Brooklyn Beckham grew up inside that ecosystem. Every appearance mattered. Every smile served a purpose. Every family moment was an asset. And when you grow up like that, you learn early that memories aren't just memories, they're currency. That's why the wedding matters so much. Not because of what allegedly happened on the dance floor, but because weddings are supposed to be the one moment where the brand steps back and the human steps forward. Brooklyn is essentially saying that never happened, and if he's right, then the wedding wasn't just emotionally painful, it was symbolic. It was the moment he realized there would never be a private version of his life that didn't belong to the machine. Now think about this from another angle. Why would a wedding guest speak up at all? People who attend events like this operate under formal and informal NDAs. Silence is social currency. You don't burn bridges with the Brooklyn Beckhams unless you're prepared for consequences. So when someone casually says, "I was there," and backs up Brooklyn's claim, that isn't clout chasing. It's exhaustion. It suggests that whatever loyalty once existed has eroded. And that usually happens when people feel silence is starting to look like complicity. Brooklyn Beckham says he's found peace. His parents remain silent. The public keeps watching. And somewhere out there, footage may or may not exist, but the damage already does. So here's the real question. If you were in his position and the happiest day of your life still made your chest tighten years later, would you protect the image or would you protect your peace? Let me know what you think. And if you want more deep dives into celebrity stories that go way beyond the headlines, make sure you're subscribed and notifications are on. Because some stories don't end when the cameras turn off. And this one feels far from over.